place smaller items under the seat in front of you. And ensure all aisles, exits, and bulkhead areas are clear.
Well, I made it to Salt Lake City for the 2016 Partner Summit and for the P2W 2016 Partner Summit. And I'm excited to have you guys along with me. Over the next 3 days, we're going to actually break down our business objectives. We're going to break down business principles. We're going to break down business secrets, things that we've done over the last 15, 16, 17 years in business. And we're going to share with you what we've done to make our businesses profitable. And I talk about businesses. So obviously this is more toward an entrepreneurial thing, but you can also apply it to your traditional business as well if you're a business owner. But we're going to break down all these details, all the things that we've done that have been successful, the things that haven't worked. We're going to talk about partnerships. We're going to talk about indirect sales and indirect channel sales. We're going to talk about just a myriad of things over the next 3 days, and we ask you to come along with us. Now, I'm getting ready to go pick up my buddy, my business partner. I met this guy 2 years ago. His name's Lynn Coleman, and this guy single-handedly brought me $750,000 in contractual revenue within the first 7 months of meeting him. This guy has got an uncanny ability to be able to lower barriers and get appointments and become likable. I mean, he has this way, and over the next 3 days, we're going to share with you those strategies that he has to get your foot in the door in order to close that sale. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to show you how we can impart into you ways that you can create more revenue. If you've got a business today and you're struggling creating revenue, we're going to talk to you about that. If you're in a situation today that you're not sure if your business is going to stay afloat, we're going to talk to you about that as well. We're going to show you ways in order to reignite the fire within your business, reignite the fire if you're an entrepreneur, and show you how to generate revenue. So come along, join us for the next 3 days. We're excited to have you. All right, well, I'm here with my business partner, Lynn Coleman. We finally were able to connect again. I was sharing with you a little bit about Lynn prior to picking him up, but we're here in Salt Lake City for the P2W Summit. As you know, we're driving down Main Street here in Park City, but we wanted to share with you some tactics, some skills, some just general information that we've picked up over the years. And so we're going to do this in a 5-part series. And so to get started, let's get started.
All right. Well, I mean, the biggest thing is on this series is that we know that you guys need something to get you going. And we realize that. We're in the same boat. We've been there when you just need to generate revenue. And so we want to start our first part of the series off with just something called Blitzkrieg. If you're not familiar with Blitzkrieg, Blitzkrieg is a term that was assigned to a military tactic for quick capture, quick occupation, and really the Germans had perfected this when they took Poland, when they took France, when they took Belgium, and it was basically an all-out, full court press, frontal assault to gain territory. And so right now you're needing to gain territory. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, what it means to do a blitzkrieg, to dedicate a certain amount of time and go all out, get totally focused, totally targeted at gaining new opportunities and creating interest in your business. And the more that you create, the activity you create, the more that you're going to be able to follow that through and turn that into revenue and into new dollars. So, Todd and I both, we've always thrived on the policy of I can sell myself way out of anything. I can sell myself out of anything.
Right,
so
right.
it's a matter of, hey, if I'm cash flow tight, I can sell stuff. And so that's kind of what this is about. It's about it re-energizing and then putting all your efforts into an immediate campaign to just gain new opportunities.
And I think that Blitzkrieg is fitting for the fact that it's a mobile force. It was a mobile force. It was an all at once, all out war, short bursts, right? Short bursts of time, meaning that it's dedicated, focused energy, short bursts of time of going out and getting what you need to get done. And so it's fitting because we're in the car, right? So it's mobile all out, but nonetheless, and I think that's oftentimes what happens. So as Lynn was stating, there's times where you need to be able to get yourself out of a situation, whether it's a financial situation, whether it's a revenue situation, whether or not you've got employees to pay, whether you're trying to make ends meet, whether or not you're just trying to pay your bills. And we've all been there, right? Exactly. And so you've got to focus. And so the bigger question I think I'm going to ask here is, what's causing you not to focus? What's causing you not to generate revenue? Those are the things you really need to reflect on that's going on inside your business, inside your life, that may be prohibiting you from being able to really generate the sales that you need. And I think it's fair to say as well that in any business, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an established business, no matter what you are, I think that you have to be able to sell. You have to be able to sell. If you can't sell, then it's going to be a long road. You're going to struggle. I mean, you're not going to be able to really be able to grow your business the way that you need to. So again, a Blitzkrieg. What this is, as Lynn was stating, it's a short burst of time, focused energy on sales. Sales, meaning that what can you do to generate revenue immediately? What can you do to bring yourself out of a situation immediately? And that's what we do, and we've done this. Matter of fact, you did this, and you've done this several times. So I don't know if you want to kind of talk about that and how you guys have kind of put that together, and what the results have been like for you.
Well, you kind of got to get back to your roots. When you started your business, and if you're just starting your business, you're going to totally get this, but your number one focus when you start your business is generating revenue, is getting out there. It's feet on the pavement. It's doing whatever you can do, networking. And so, but we kind of tend to get away from that. We start getting too tied up in the business and get away from generating revenue. And so what we've done in the past, man, when we had situations where we really needed to just boost sales or to boost revenue generation, what we did was we took a month. We said, we're doing Blitzkrieg for a month, and we are going at it. Everything is about generating new opportunities, making that pipeline as fat as you can get it with opportunities, and creating the interest out there, and making every contact that you can possibly make. Now that's a very focused and very dedicated approach. So you gotta say, I'm putting some other stuff on the shelf, but for this 1 month or for this 2 weeks or whatever you decide, it's going to be all about sales. It's going to be about talking to as many people as you can talk to, making as many contacts, re-engaging as many customers as you had, or potential opportunities that were out there, that maybe you lost contact with, but reconnecting. And it's a lot of legwork, a lot of phone work, a lot of digital marketing, however you decide to do it. Now, I will say this: don't be afraid of old school.
Right.
Old school still works. I mean, knocking on people's doors, picking up the phone, making those contacts, because it's all about getting them back engaged, making that initial contact so that you can take it to other steps. So it's finding out whether you want to launch it. And a couple of things you can do with that is probably some really just simple ideas is sending out communication, whether it's email or letter, sending it out saying, hey, I'm going to be calling you in the next 2 days. But going ahead and setting the expectation, then doing it,
right,
making those calls,
right,
and then setting the priorities there. And I think some of the things that we're going to do, here is just about that. And Todd, you probably have some things that y'all have done as well, but those dedicated times where it's just everything is about revenue generation and creating opportunities.
Absolutely. I think that one of the things that came to mind was the E-Myth. If you guys have not read the E-Myth, obviously it's a book you need to get, because it talks about certain qualities that you want to work on within your business. It helps you really define what you're doing. But what I'm really getting at here is that the question you need to ask yourself is to why you're not generating revenue today. Is it because you're working in your business And if you're working in your business, that means that you're an employee to your business. It means that you're doing the daily grind, you're grinding it out, you're trying to make a buck. But at the end of the day, when you're working in your business, you can't work on your business.
Right.
And that's the major difference. That's what's going to set you apart or other businesses apart from you, is that people that work on their business are always looking forward to new revenue generating opportunities. They're looking for ways that they're going to create additional products, or what we call sawdust, right? And the thing is that you need to have that same focus. You need to have that ability where you're able to work on your business, meaning that I'm taking time out, I'm putting together a blitzkrieg plan, right?
Yep.
And how we're going to go to market, what are we going to do, what are we going to sell, and it's about working on the business, not working in the business. So again, I challenge you to ask yourself, what are you doing today that's not working, right? And why are you generating revenue? And are you working in your business or on your business? Those are two things you need to ask yourself. And so, yeah, as far as us doing blitzkriegs, absolutely. we did it through School of Hard Knocks, right? Because we try to take a shotgun approach versus a laser focused approach. And our shotgun approach doesn't tend to work out too well, right? It's like kind of a sprayed attack out of all the product sets that we offer. The problem is you can't get everybody on the same page, and you can't be focused either, right? You're jack of all trades, master of none.
Yep.
Right? And so, and I'm sure everybody's heard that little, saying, but point being is that that's the case. So anyways, nonetheless, that's a blitzkrieg. That's what happens. So we're going to give you some action steps, and that's kind of our point here, is that we want you to be able to take practical steps that you can enable and put into your business immediately. And again, they're not long-term plans, right? I mean, we know that long-term plans can become daunting, for one. Two, they set you up for failure, and really nothing more than a guess.
Right.
That's what a plan is. It's a guess, because you have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, that's the reason why they have split A/B testing. They have all this stuff out there. We have no idea. You have no idea. So the thing is, small steps, simple plans, put into action. So the first action step,
first action step is define your product set. Define what you are going to try to get the word out on. And remember, you're creating opportunities. So if you define that thing and just focus on one, to focus on that one thing, the product set that you're going to try to promote, and you are defining those things that are going to bring value, different things like that. But that's step number one. I'm not going to go into it a lot because you understand it. You define, okay, this is what I do. We have an app company, and at certain times we've done blitzkriegs on a certain feature of the app. It's like, okay, new feature came out, bam, here it is. I'm going to get the word out, and I'm going to blitzkrieg it. I'm going to get it out to as many people, see who's interested.
Right.
So that's step number one.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of elaborate on that just a little bit. So I also have a communications company, and we sell, all kinds of different communications, but internet, right? We sell phones, security, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
But when we're talking about internet, that's one product. We're not trying to sell everything at one time. Now, obviously, during those sales cycles, those blitzkriegs, you get opportunities that come to those other pieces, which is fine, but that's not the focal point, right? It's about having one solid month of just full out assault on one product set. And that's how it actually happens, because you're focused and you become hot. I mean, right? You ever seen, like we talk about the Cavaliers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just get hot, right? People come at you with different questions, and you can be on it because you're doing it. You're doing it daily.
Right.
When you're dividing your time amongst multiple products, you can't be hot. And it reminds me of one of those old, back when I was a kid, it was like a basketball game.
Right.
You make like three pointers in a row. It's like you were on fire. You can make like a full length shot. And there's a lot of truth to that, because when you do something in repetition, you just it becomes a part of you daily. You
get in the zone.
You get in the zone, right?
That's
and
it,
you're just nailing it. And that's the thing. That's why it's so important that you define the product set. The next task, right? The next action item for you really is defining your approach. Right? Defining your approach.
Yep.
How are you going to do it? You don't see people go into war.
Right.
Just, it's kind of an all out, like, let's just go. No. There's strategy behind it, right? There's strategy. There's positioning behind that whole thing. You've got to have an idea as to how you're going to do it. Now, if it doesn't work, that's fine, but at least you have something to go off of. I mean, I think that so many people try to go like, well, I don't know what to do. So what happens when you don't know what to do? People typically, 90% of the time, don't do it. They don't do anything. Matter of fact, that right there is the reason why 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, is because I don't know what to do, so I don't even do it.
Yeah.
And the ones that have made, and if it's kind of an outlandish thought, but you think about the Facebooks of the world and the Twitters of the world. they had nothing to reference it to. They just did it. And because they went and did it, they discovered a whole new way that we didn't even know. And so those are the things, is that you just got to go do it, right? You got to define your approach. And when I say that, is it's like, if you're going to do a blitzkrieg and you're going to do cold calling, if you're a new business,
right,
you don't have a whole lot of money, cold calling. I know it's painful, and yeah, it's probably not as effective today as what it used to be, because you've got gatekeepers, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But point being is that you've got email, you can go set up at find local businesses around you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of different things that you can do at low cost and no cost to get your social media.
Yeah,
is so huge, right? Right here, I'll challenge you with this. Write one blog a day. Here, I'll give you a great example, right? So we started a company a little over a year and a half ago called SafeCams.
Right.
It's a hosted surveillance platform, and we organically became on the first page of Google in 4 different locations. On the first page of Google for hosted surveillance. We didn't pay a dime. And the way that we did that was that we took just a small step each day. We applied a little bit of something to the web. We went out and we wrote a blog. We went out to Crunchbase. We went out and create LinkedIn profiles. We went out and we did all this stuff, and we tied it all back, and it created us to become a legitimate source, or the experts in that field. So again, there's ways to do it that are inexpensive but yet efficient. But it's about doing it, right? Yep. It's about defining the approach and acting on it.
That's it. And I think that the third thing we're going to give you today is to set the matrix to set your goals. Because without goals, you can't really have a blitzkrieg. Because what is the goal of a blitzkrieg? Is occupation. It's taking territory. So we would set goals on, okay, how many contacts can I make a day?
Right.
Go, like I said, old school, new school, you got to have both. You can't just eliminate old school, because there has to be personal contact. There has to be a certain amount of calls that are made or emails that are sent out, followed up with calls. But set those goals and set them high. And if you, because you're in a blitzkrieg, so the more activity that you're generating, the more opportunities you're going to create, because you're out there, you're talking to people. The other thing, just to go back on what Todd said, is don't be afraid to contact, if you have an existing business, is to contact your customers that like you and ask them for referrals. Because people forget to do that, and people like you, and if you're doing good business, they're going to like you. And you call them up and say, hey, man, we're doing a blitzkrieg, or we're doing a real push right now. Who do you know that you think our services can help, or our product can help? And they will tell you. We've done that a number of times. Never amazed me at how many referrals you can get, and we kick ourselves because why didn't we do that before? Right. This is like a gold mine out there. So don't get away from those things, but set your goals, set them high, and if you do, then just make sure you're attacking those goals every single day. Yeah, I think that's the good point there, is that it goes back to defining your approach, right? That should be in your approach. Right. That you have to ask them, though. You can't assume that they're just going to give you referrals unless you ask, right? Yeah. So you need to ask for the referral. Right. And maybe that's even like, hey, give me a referral, I'll give you a discount on your service. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to really barter that, to build that kind of in an equity standpoint. So, that's one. The other thing is, I want to talk about goals real quick, and the type of goals that we're talking about, so that way you can really define the goal, is really setting what's known as a SMART goal, right? A SMART goal. And SMART really stands for, it's kind of an acronym for, the S is for specific, right? You want to be very specific in regards to your goals. How many phone calls am I going to make a day? Right. How many emails am I going to send out? How many calls am I going to follow up with? I mean, that's specific. The second one is measurable. How are you going to measure it? It's got to be trackable. Right? How are you going to measure how many calls? Are you going to log it, right? I mean, are you going to make a log of who I talked to today, who I left messages for? It's got to be measurable. The third thing, it's got to be, for attainable. Yes. Something that you can do. Yeah. Let's not be out of our minds thinking that we can do all this stuff when I'm going to make 300 calls a day. I mean, we hear that all the time. We're like, is that realistic? Probably not for some people, right? Probably not. But for others, it very well may be. Right. That's the thing, right? So again, make sure that it's attainable. Relevant. Right. Make sure that they're relevant goals for what you're trying to accomplish, right? I mean, if it's not relevant, then
obviously it's a waste of time. I mean, that's really the bittersweet of that. I mean, it's relevant. You know, I mean, you got to make sure that you are, you know, doing what you need to do in order to get it. So relevancy, right? Mm-hmm. Relevant to the product, relevant to the Blitzkrieg, and SMA. T. So T, time sensitive.
Yeah.
Right? Put a deadline on it. Put a deadline on it. So let me kind of give you an example of what a SMART goal would look like in a Blitzkrieg. The Blitzkrieg would be like this. A SMART goal, you can set a SMART goal for a day, each day,
right?
And you can set it for the month, right? So I'm going to do one for a month. My goal is to make 3,000 phone calls. So there it's specific, 3,000, right? By, what's today? Today is June 23rd.
Yep.
Right? So by July 23rd, right? So 3,000 phone calls by July 23rd regarding safe cams, right? But I'm going to go, and the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to email, phone call, and I'm going to get referrals.
Right.
Right? So now it's relevant for my product, right? Because that's what I'm, and I'm going to go after white labelers. So that's now it's really relevant to our product. And it's time sensitive. So specific, measurable, right? 3,000, right? It's relevant. Is it attainable? Sure it is. I'm not doing this in order, but specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time sensitive. And it meets all those. So again, you got to have that goal in place so that way you know whether or not you can achieve it, right? If you don't have a SMART goal in place, you know, you're leaving out valuable pieces. So again, that's all I have for that. But any other thoughts on that?
Well, I think too, speaking to, you got established business, you got resources, you got people you can dedicate. You've also got you startup guys.
Yeah.
So your goals might be 10 or 20 good quality calls a day.
Sure.
And maybe out of all those calls, maybe you're hoping that you can get maybe 4 or 5 that really you could tell were hot.
Right.
Those are attainable. You know, you can knock out 20 calls a day. And man, if you're doing 20 calls a day, you think about that's 100 calls a week.
Yep.
And all of a sudden your funnel is starting to get fat. You're making a lot of contacts. You're meeting people. So I'm just telling you.
And even if you're the worst salesman in the world, if you're doing 100 calls a week,
yes,
you know, you're at least landing 1 or 2. It is. It's a numbers game. As long as you know your product, you may not even be a sales guy and you're still working on your trade. But if you just know your product alone, by making 100 phone calls, you're going to land 2, a minimum of 2%. I mean, that's worst case. Yeah. Average is like 8. The average close is 8 to 10. You know, I mean, that's average. So even if you made 100, if you can get 10 opportunities, right? Yeah. 10 appointments.
Yep.
That is huge.
That's huge. Yep.
I mean, because appointments, you know, action equals action, right? I mean, or action equals traction. Yep. So either way, the thing is that it's about doing that. It's about, again, if you're not the best, you're like, oh, I'm not the best sales guy. It doesn't matter. It's about taking action, right? So just get out there and do it. You got to go after it. You got to go after it. Be a bulldog, right? People want to be millionaires. They want to be, you know, wealthy business owners, but they want to do it from their couch because they see people make, you know, these billion-dollar software companies with crazy valuations. That's pure luck.
Yep.
That is luck. And you know what? If you're going to wait around for luck, it's never going to happen, right? So, again, and a lot of times that luck comes from taking action. Right. It's about being in the right place at the right time because they actually showed up. So, anyways, that's all I've got.
Blitzkrieg, step number 1, Blitzkrieg equals hustle. Let's get to hustling. Like and remember, this is P2W. Position to win. And this is a first step in positioning yourself to win as far as generating that revenue.
Right.
So hope you got it.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Right.
And make sure you stay tuned for the other opportunities that we're actually bringing to you over the next couple of days. So again, we're going to try to get a few of these out today, if not try to get all of them, based on the stuff that we've done over the last few days. So again, just a lot of valuable information. You know, we're kind of in an incubator state right now, so we're kind of just unloading a lot of the stuff that we've talked about with a lot of other business professionals over the last few days, and we're all doing it right here in the heart of Salt Lake City or Park City, Utah, which is absolutely gorgeous country. So, anyways, if you ever get a chance to get out here, it's absolutely beautiful. So, anyways, we'll see you on the next video.
Awesome.
So, what the rule of 7 is, it was actually a formulated plan back in the 1930s by film industries that they realized that they needed to touch somebody at least 7 times before they would actually understand their product or would realize what the point they were trying to make. So there's 7 different impressions that you need to make on somebody before you can